Hi, I'm Cass. I wanted to talk a bit about how I first figured out or realized I had DID. Okay, so I obviously, before I was aware of my alters, I was having all of the other symptoms of DID in the way that I was pretty sure I had CPTSD. I wasn't diagnosed, but I did the research and I figured, oh shit, that's me. I always dissociate, and I mean always. I'm always feeling like this body is not mine and that everything around me feels fake. Like, that is constant. It's constant. So, like, I figured that wasn't really, normal. What else is there? I have always had a really bad memory. I didn't class as amnesia until maybe last year, maybe the year before, something like that. But most of the things that I can remember, they're like, it's kind of like a little slideshow, but there's no memory or emotion attached to it. There's no feeling attached to it. And it doesn't feel like mine. A lot of my memories are in third person, so it'll be like I can see me. It's weird. That and the fact that pretty much all of my life is blank. There's nothing there. There's literally just nothing. It feels like I just kind of popped up and just started existing one day, which could be it, because someone inside did tell me that I'm not the original host, which isn't surprising, but kind of upset me when I first heard it. Okay, so the alters. I didn't exactly figure it out as much as they came to me. So I remember once I was just like, I'm just gonna make a headspace for myself, just for somewhere for me to imagine being when things are too much for me and I want to just be somewhere where I feel safe, which is fair. So I looked up like a guide on how to make your own headspace, and I made one, and it's like a really pretty forest and there's a cabin in there. Okay. So what happened was I was just, minding my own business, imagining being in my headspace one day after, I think it was a couple days after I made it, maybe a week, something like that, it wasn't too long. Just imagining my own business. And sorry, I thought I saw a spider and I was about to freak out. I didn't. I was just minding my own business and there was just this girl there. I didn't put her there. I didn't imagine her there. She was just there. And she smiled at me. And I can't really place why, but something about it made me feel unsettled. I'm not going to get into how all of that panned out, but I did learn that her name was Annabeth. And we didn't really get along at first. She kind of scared me. And it scared me that I wasn't in control of her. Like, that really freaked me out, But I was able to talk to her. Once I gave her a room in that cabin, we were fine. We got along, which is great, but we both apologized to each other about how we first met and actually started getting along. The weird thing is, when I gave her a room, I didn't create the room, I created the door. When we opened it, it was already a decorated room, which I thought was weird. Someone I was friends with at the time said that's your headspace building itself. Her room was really pretty, actually. It's like, she's got like a 4-poster bed with fairy lights everywhere. Shelves next to her bed full of books. She loves reading. Really soft lighting. Like, it's just a really nice room. Came to me and like revealed herself to me, I never ever used to get headaches. And that exact day, I started getting headaches every single hour. And I mean, that's kind of validating. I would just get headaches like every hour, every day for like a month straight. That's one pretty easy way of reminding myself, hey, you can't be making this up, because why else would you suddenly be getting headaches that just happened to coincide with when an altar came forward to you? I forget that a lot, though, unsurprisingly. What with, memory problems being a huge part of this disorder. So not too long after that, we found a child in the headspace who was really upset and crying, and we figured out his name was Josh, and it turns out he's 6, and when things get kind of bad inside, he'd slide down to age 3. He doesn't talk much at all. I've probably heard him say maybe 10 words in the year that I've known him. A lot of the time he's just afraid and silent or crying. After that, then there was Michael, who is a 27-year-old. He's my protector. He's pretty cool. He just seems like a really chill biker. He actually kind of looks like Matthew Daddario. You know, the guy from Shadowhunters. He actually kind of looks like him. But anyway, after him then was Moth. Just a 15-year-old teen kid. She's lovely. And after her was Skylar. Me and Skylar also got off to a really bad start, because when we first found her, she was very, very angry. And it wasn't actually at me or the other system members, but she did take it out on us, because she didn't have anywhere else to direct it. She split during a really bad period of my life, and basically how that worked out was, if I continued to harbor all of the anger and the sadness and the frustration I was feeling at that time, I would have ended up killing myself. So she existed to hold all of that, and her existing saved my life, really. After a few days of, we kind of locked her in a room, but after a few days of working with her and talking with her, she apologized for what she had been like, and she is still holding a lot of anger, but she doesn't direct it at us anymore. We're trying to help her through it, but I feel like I need actual therapy for that. After her then was Betty, who's actually an interject from Riverdale, which is weird because I don't even particularly like the character that much, but my Betty is really sweet. She's pretty much exactly like the character and actually believes she is, which is a weird experience. And after her then came Nebula. They look like an 8-year-old boy, but all they really do is kind of stare at us. They stare at people inside, and it looks like they're just watching and observing, and it makes everyone really uncomfortable. Excuse that. So after a few months, we could communicate, not too bad. There would be some periods of time where I would maybe self-harm, or I don't know, but system communication would be gone. I wouldn't be able to see inside properly, where I'd have a really hard time talking to everyone. And earlier this year, a couple months ago, I'm not entirely sure when, I'm just going to say earlier this year because I can't really offer a time, but they first started being able to front. Once that happened, I lost communication almost completely. It's still really hard to talk to them inside, but they confront now if they want to. It's usually just me, but they can. come out if they want to. They tend to not come out for more than just a couple of hours if they do, mostly because I guess there isn't very much out here that they want to do. I don't really leave the house a whole lot or anything, so they tend to just keep to themselves, stay inside, maybe be co-conscious if there's something they're interested in. Not a lot of people have physically met any of my alters. Like, there's been some people who've met them through text. The only person who's coming to mind that has met one was actually a psychiatrist we saw. I don't remember what happened. I think I was having some trouble figuring out the right bus to get to go to the clinic. And anger is a super easy trigger for Skylar to come out. And that's exactly what happened. I ended up getting really angry, and then pop, Skylar was out. I'm also pretty much aware when they're out. Like, I can see what's happening, but I'm not the one who's really in control. It's weird. But Skylar went to my psychiatrist appointment. Thankfully, the psychiatrist was really sweet, and he treated Skylar like she was a separate person from me. And the psychiatrist wanted to know how he could talk to me if he wanted to, and Skylar basically went, okay, let's do that, and switched with me. And I never switched in front of anybody. I still haven't really switched in front of anybody since that. And I talked to him for a couple of minutes, and he left to talk to the consultant psychiatrist in the clinic. And the minute he did, I immediately broke down and started crying because I felt so vulnerable. I'm really grateful that he was really nice about it, but it was a very frightening experience for me. I'm sorry, I'm kind of dissociating, I guess. Okay. Sorry, it's uncomfortable. So, to just add to what I'm saying, yes, my psych team and the occupational therapist that I see weekly, bi-weekly, they're aware of my alters. And it does say in my file that I have a dissociative disorder, but nothing more specific. My psych team knowing was really scary for me. They keep calling them auditory hallucinations, despite me pointing out I don't hear them here. They're like other thoughts that aren't mine. And they can, take over my body if they want to. I don't really think that's what auditory hallucinations do. I forgot to mention, actually, once, as I said, I haven't been diagnosed yet, but my psych team is aware, and of course, as I do think with any disorder, once you start displaying symptoms, or maybe just, once you start displaying symptoms, it's time to let a professional know. Because I've read that DID people can also mistake symptoms of seizures as blackouts, and could maybe come to the conclusion that they have DID when they don't. It's really important to have that ruled out. Oh man, I ended up talking for like 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, nothing looks real right now, and like more than usual. And I completely forget what I was talking about. I know I was talking about like DID, but I forget exactly what about it I was trying to talk about. Well, I did what I could. It's good to get it documented, I guess. And even though I was dissociating, I did my best. I got most of it out there that I could. So, if you think you could have DID or OSDD1, you should definitely tell your doctor, or if you're seeing any mental health professionals, tell them. It is scary. So what I'd advise to do first before telling them is maybe ask if they have experience with the dissociative disorders. Ridiculously, some professionals don't even believe it exists. So I understand if they don't, then not telling them could be for your own safety. And yeah. I'm having a struggle. It's Annabeth. Someone's coming up the stairs. So just give me a moment. Hi. I'm Annabeth. I am 23 and a lesbian. Wow. I first came here in maybe September. I want to say September, but I don't really have a good sense of time. I don't think anyone in here does. So, do you want to know what I look like? I have long blonde hair that's kind of wavy, curly, and I love wearing flower crowns and long, flowy, lacy white dresses. I am actually usually barefoot too. I like being barefoot, mostly because I like being in the forest. And I don't know if you've ever been barefoot in the forest, but it just feels so serene, I guess would be a good word. Serene. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that I'd like to add to this video on the topic of DID. I guess alters aren't, you shouldn't be afraid of us. Whether you're the one who has alters or you're an outside person and someone you know has alters. Any one of us that could come across as angry, it can be frightening, but what you need to remember is all of us are born either from trauma or from high stress. I want to say that it would usually be the angry ones who are born from trauma, maybe 9 times out of 10. Maybe. I don't know if that's an accurate statistic, but it seems like it would make a lot of sense that someone who's holding a lot of anger would be born from a traumatic situation rather than a stressful one, but I'm not an expert. I'm just a tiny lesbian. Honestly, just treat us the way you would treat any other individual, and treat us with the same softness you would offer to anybody else who's dealing with trauma. I think that's a very important thing for me to say. Yeah, I think that's important. We're just people who... What is it the way Cass said it? We're bunking in the same meat bag. Oh wait, no, that was Skylar. Skylar said that, and I think it's pretty accurate. We're basically just varied individuals who are bunking in the same meat bag. It's very accurate. If you have alters and you're struggling with communication, what can be a really nice idea is to just get a notebook. I don't know if I have one on me right now, but just have a notebook, because writing is more of a subconscious skill than a conscious skill. So it can help you reach your subconscious by writing to your alters. And they may be able to hear better. And sometimes they can actually write back through you, which can make a huge difference if you're struggling with intersystem communication. Another thing that could work, I've heard, is just talking out loud like this. And if anyone's listening, you might hear them back in your head, or they might speak through your mouth. We don't really do that, but we can answer back in here. Is there anything else I should add? I also think it's important to have things that your alters would enjoy. For example, for Josh, we have a stuffed dinosaur that glows on one side, because he absolutely loves dinosaurs, and it's more of like a comforting item for him when he is able to come out. And for me, Cass had gotten a blonde wig, so I can feel comfortable when I'm out if I choose to do so. You know, just small things like that can actually make a huge difference to how comfortable an alter can feel when we're outside the body. Not outside the body, when we're inside the body but up front. It's a really nice thing to do. What else can be helpful is leaving sticky notes, like post-it notes around. If it's more helpful if you don't have a good communication and you tend to have blackouts. You can leave a note stuck up somewhere where you're pretty sure an alter would see it if they came out. And maybe they'll write back to you, maybe they won't, but it's a good way to get words across to them. If you have a journal or a notebook, it can also be good to try and encourage everybody to write in it. That way, if you leave a message for someone and they come out to write in it, just even to note that they were out, they're going to see it. I think that's actually a really good idea. What else could be helpful? Sometimes we like to do video diaries, which is whenever any of us come out, we will just do a video just saying, hey, it's me, I came out, and if we know the reason why we came out, like if there was a trigger, we'll mention that too. It's just helpful to keep track of things like this, but we're really bad at taking notes physically. So we always have our phone on us, so taking that out and doing a video is actually very simple. It can take a bit of time to get used to taking it out after a switch, but it could also be really helpful if you ever want to document how often switches happen. I really hope that was helpful, and that's all I'm gonna say for today. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day.